Hey guys, Retro Nutcase here. Today we'll be looking at the basics of building a mobile suit. We're going to look at what makes it tick, what you can do to enhance each part, get a rough idea of how each weapon type works, and so forth. So to start out, let's have a look at your primary stats. I'm going to label with annotation since not everyone can read Japanese. I can't even read it myself. I go off translation guides and whatnot. So be sure your annotations are on so you can see what I'm reading and understand what it is. Alright, so to start off from the top, we have your life. If this hits 0, you die. Enough said. Next is melee DPS, an approximation of how much melee damage you deal per second. Below that is range DPS. It's the same idea, but for your ranged weapon. Next, you have physical and beam guard, which are how much of each damage type your current shield will block. Below that is reaction time. This measures your suit's attack speed. I should note this is primarily melee attack speed. I'm not sure what influence, if any, it has on your range attack speed. Next is your movement speed. That's kind of obvious. It's how fast you move, be it running, hovering, gliding, whatever. Below that is your boost speed. This measures how fast you move when you're using your boost. And finally, your thruster capacity, which is connected to the above. This determines how long you can boost before overheating. Once you overheat, you have to wait for your boost meter to refill before you can start boosting again. Now, there's also several abilities that further enhance your suit. So many, in fact, I can't really show them all in this video. But I do have a translation guide in the description that will help you with that. Now, there's two kinds of abilities. Unique abilities are specific to certain parts, and these parts will always roll with these abilities when you loot them. Some examples would be a lot of Gundam Seed Gundams will have phase shift armor. New Gundam will have Psycho Frame on various parts. Things like that. Then you have standard abilities. These will vary from part to part and are not guaranteed to appear on the part like your unique abilities do. Two different pieces could have very different bonuses, even if they're the same kind of piece. Now, while these abilities are randomized, the good news is, using the merge system, which I'll explain at the end of this video, you can combine abilities you like. Take ones off a piece you're not going to use, put them on a piece you are going to use. Take an ability you already have, and use it to upgrade the ability in question. Stuff like that. So, you can definitely tune your loot to do what you want it to do. It's not like you're going to need to try and get one piece that has everything on it you already want, thank goodness. As I said, we'll go more into this later on. Now we're going to go into the actual components of a mobile suit. To start out, we've got melee weapons. These make up the close combat portion of your suit. There are several categories of melee weapons, and each has its own subtypes. Melee weapons can roll not only with different abilities when you loot them, but they can even have entirely different movesets in some cases. Two of the same beam saber may have different fighting styles entirely, along with different bonuses. We'll be going over specific melee weapon types in more detail in a future set of videos, but I'm going to go ahead and give some quick basics on all of them here. First off, we have the saber. This is your well-rounded melee weapon that balances speed, reach, and power. It doesn't excel in any category, but doesn't lack in any category either. As such, it's a perfect weapon for a beginner. It can reliably break through guarding enemy shields to certain attacks, which makes it incredibly useful in almost any situation. Next, we have double sabers. These are a more advanced weapon. You sacrifice your individual power on hit when you dual wield. In exchange, you'll hit much faster and do more damage with rapid hits. Unfortunately, while you get this nice flurry of attacks that hits faster, they're much less effective at breaking the guard of a blocking enemy. You'll need another weapon to complement this one for guard breaking, or add bonuses that specialize in breaking enemy shields. Next up is the Greatsword. This is all about single, hard hits. What you lack in speed with it, you make up for in raw power and reach. You can easily cleave through groups, and more importantly, one good swing is usually all it takes to guard break an enemy, removing the need to have shield damage on your weapon. Just smack them, and their defenses are down. If you don't mind losing speed, the power trade-off is wonderful. Now, alternative double sabers would be the twin blade. These are double-ended blades. Darth Maul style, in other words, that can either unleash a flurry of spinning strikes, or in some cases, be used as a double saber style weapon before going into the aforementioned flurry. If you want fast hits but you're not really feeling it with double sabers, this could be an alternative weapon for you. Okay, so if you're the type of guy who likes to have single, hard hits, and wants to focus on breaking a single opponent down, you want an axe. These things are a bit on the slow side and lack the reach of a greatsword, but they have incredible power per hit. Their charge-up attacks in particular are both excellent at breaking and dealing a ton of damage in one swing. While they're only good for one target with normal combos, they also have X attacks that make them better for dealing with groups, so they can do a bit of both as long as you use them properly. A bit of a tougher weapon to use, but certainly a fun one in the right situation. Now, if you want reach, but you also want a little more style and more hits in your attacks versus the single hard hits of the greatsword, you might be a lance player. The lance offers reach, but it relies more on multiple hits than hard single ones. It's also really good at closing the distance between you and an enemy, making it great for those who prefer to start their melee from a distance with a close-in strike, as opposed to dashing in and then starting your attacks. Now, if you like wide hits, but you want some speed to go with them, look no further than the whip. The whip's individual hits aren't strong, but they add up quickly, and with it you can easily smack entire groups from mid-range. So, it's the opposite concept of the greatsword. Tons of reach, less power, lots of speed. And even then, with high enough DPS, these can be excellent group-killing weapons. I often see whips get overlooked, and they should not be underestimated for their utility purpose as far as crowd control goes. With a lot of hits done, these babies can lock an entire group down. Don't ignore them. If you want a good alternative to axes, but you still want that same close-up, hard-hitting power, look into the unarmed brawling style. This features punching and kicking that's all about each hit hitting like a truck. Its fighting style is great for those who want to punch, but don't want to be an Eastern martial artist style character, and be more about kind of, street fighting. It's also got some good, hard-hitting special attacks in its X list that make it a wonderful way to do a lot of damage in one single hit. I suppose you want to make a one-punch man build, this is probably the style you'd use for it. Not that I'm really that huge a fan of One Punch Man, it kinda got ruined for me. Anyway, moving along. If you do want faster hitting hand-to-hand, that's what the martial arts / Kenpo style is for. Rather than single hard punches, this close-range hand-to-hand style is all about unleashing a rapid barrage of hits. The neat thing about this style, though, is it has a sort of system where, as you do more combos, you build up more strength for a final powerful hit you can use via your secondary attack button. So the idea is, land a lot of quick hits, build up power, then use one powerful blow to finish the job. This is also a great style if you're using a Shining Gundam build, a God Gundam build, a Master Gundam build, any finger-based build. This is more or less the fighting style that was meant for those suits to use. The final hand-to-hand style is the claw style. This style is all about slashing your opponents to bits with your hands, which somehow magically become claws. The other neat thing about this style, though, is it's actually a blend of speed and power because of very different primary and secondary attacks. The primary style is a claw slash. The secondary attack, however, is a devastating grapple setup. You can do suplex throws. You can do pile drivers. You can just basically smash your opponents to bits like a pro wrestler. And it's fun. Now, the other half of your suit's offense would be your ranged weapon, which is obviously how you attack from a distance. Like melee weapons, they can roll with different attacks, in this case different firing modes. Some will have burst fire, some will have rapid fire, some will have charge shots, some will have a powerful sustained beam. Think twin buster rifle style. Be ready to experiment in order to find the perfect gun for your playstyle. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick look over of the weapon types. Rifles are the ranged version of the saber. They're a good choice for someone who wants to alternate between melee and ranged fighting styles due to their balance of fire rate versus damage, but they can also work for precision shooting when required. So in other words, another jack-of-all-trades weapon. While I wouldn't recommend it for a dedicated long-range build, it's definitely good for those times you need some long-range shooting versus mid-range shooting, but primarily specialize in mid-range shooting while you close in with a melee weapon. Then you've got dual rifles. Dual rifles are basically similar to double sabers in that you get two and you double down. This comes with pros and cons. Pro? You can fire a lot more. And in a lot of cases, dual rifles also come with more utility-based attacks. For example, twin buster rifles rolling fire, which can sweep through entire groups, sustained beam, which can punch through a hard target, and then you've also got some beam pistols that let you do fancy dodging cartwheels that evade and shoot at the same time. Unfortunately, with double the firepower comes double the energy expenditure. You'll often find yourself running out of ammo much faster with a dual rifle than a single rifle, so watch that gauge. Now, if you want a good choice that blends melee and range into one style, but you want something a little more rapid, you've got machine guns. They're a bit less accurate than other gun types in most situations, but they can fire and reload fairly quickly. Unfortunately, the relatively fast reload time also comes at the cost of a small magazine. If you just go ahead and hold the trigger down on full auto all the time, you'll be reloading a lot. So make sure you watch that ammo gauge. That said, they're always good for when you need a quick juggle, or you just want to take someone out from range with a peppering of shots. Now, if you want a lot of bullets and fire in a short amount of time, more so than a machine gun, go for a Gatling gun. The challenge in this also lies in ammo management for a different reason. Gatling guns have a ton of ammunition, but this also means a much longer reload time than a machine gun if you run out entirely. So make sure you don't use up too much ammo, or it'll be waiting a while before you can fire again. That said, though, nothing locks down someone better than several hundred rounds a minute. When you want splash damage, go with the explosive weapons. Bazookas fire slower shots than other weapon types, but they make up for it with big booms. Because of their slower firing speed, though, they're not a good companion for a melee weapon, especially since you'll often need to manually aim and lead your shots for a hit, or fire points near your foe to catch in the detonation area, since direct hits from long range can be very difficult with a slower moving projectile. If you've played Quake, you know what I'm talking about. Direct rocket hits are hard. Indirect rocket hits are much easier. Now, if you want to be a sniper, you want a long rifle. These are basically built for the purpose of long-range takedowns as they do more damage per shot, but can't fire nearly as many shots in rapid succession as other weapons. While they can be used as a companion to melee like a standard rifle, they really do shine at their best when they're used for long-range shooting. Okay, that covers the weapon portion of your suits. Let's look at the actual pieces that make it up. First thing to note is that every piece of your suit, head, body, legs, arms, and backpack all contribute towards your total life. They can also all be given life bonuses to give you additional life total. So if you need more life, start putting life bonuses on your pieces. In addition, all parts of your mobile suit can also contribute towards the effectiveness of your option equipment. Additional weapons such as Vulcan guns, missiles, and so forth. You can improve their damage, you can improve how many shots they can fire before reloading, and you can also improve their reload speed. Every part of your suit can use these bonuses, so keep that in mind. Now let's look into part specifics. First, we have heads. The head is the brain of your mobile suit, and it contributes towards your reaction speed and range DPS through both weapon bonuses and weapon masteries, which are your percent damage bonus. Only range, though. You can also augment your head with various abilities to improve your break chance, regain life on successful hits, and so forth. So, if you're wanting to focus on range damage in particular, your head's abilities are going to be very crucial to the build. Next up, we got the body. This is the heart of your machine. It's a heavy contributor towards your total life value, as well as your damage resistant, a stat that's not shown in your main stats, but only as an ability that determines how much you reduce damage by when you fail to block with a shield. Other things your body can improve are your stagger chance with melee and ranged attacks, as well as resist both being staggered and knocked back by enemies. Next, arms. Arms are a major component of a melee build. They provide additional bonuses to your reaction speed as well as your melee DPS, both in terms of flat-out weapon damage and percent weapon bonus damage. There's something very important for close combat specialists, and you should definitely pay attention to them in that case. They can also provide various combo and EX bonuses, and provide additional life on hit to keep you in the fight that much longer if you're a heavy offense type who takes damage and needs to quickly recover from it. Then you've got legs. Legs are your method of movement. It should be unsurprising, then, that they affect your move speed. With abilities, however, they can also enhance your chance of inflicting knockback with your weapons, your damage resistance, and even provide a few forms of life recovery, as well as enhance the defensive properties of your dodging to let you move further and stay invincible longer during a dodge step. Next up, we got backpacks. The backpack is another key mobility component of your suit, contributing both to thruster capacity and boost speed. It also has several utility functions that it can serve with abilities such as stagger and knockback resist, and it can also contribute to your resistances, give you better melee air combo damage, and provide extra recovery when you perform enemy breaks. Shields are another key defense component of your build, focusing on active defense rather than passive since they contribute towards your guard stats. They do provide some passive bonuses, though, since they can contribute to your stagger and knockback resist, but they also have a unique ability to modify enemy aggro rates. You can make enemies more or less likely to target you, and even gain a damage reduction stack per enemy actively targeting you. If you want a bit more offense, you can also use an armed shield, which is a shield that comes with a built-in weapon such as missile launchers, machine guns, a beam cannon, and many others. In these cases, you can make them more effective with shield DPS, shield ammo capacity, and shield charge rates. Builder parts are various external things you can put on your suit to enhance its stats or give it additional weaponry. For every cosmetic piece you use, such as either non-visible things like polycaps, or visible attachments like a command antenna, you'll get extra life, reaction speed, move speed, and boost speed. There's also various weapons you can attach to your suit, however, such as missile launchers, cannons, katanas. Plenty of ways to add on to your suit's arsenal. And that's just the stuff on the outside. Many parts have additional weaponry attached or built into them called optional equipment. These can include things like the Vulcan cannons you find in many Gundam heads, wrist-mounted launchers like grenade and missile launchers, melee weapons that are inside holsters like beam sabers, and even backpack-attached weaponry like extra cannons. By using a combination of builder parts and option equipment, you can expand your arsenals well beyond the basic two weapons you equip in your main slots. This will give you plenty more combat variety. Your suit also gets several special moves called EX actions. EX actions are tied to specific parts and weapons in most cases, but as you master them, you'll be able to use them without the required parts. This means you can eventually use rifle-based EX actions without equipping a rifle, or use special abilities like the Zero system without having to use Wing Zero itself. Using EX actions that complement your playstyle is vital, as they'll be how you output more damage at a key moment, or survive when things go south. As for the types, weapon type EXs are just that. EXs that use your weapon to dish out more damage, and in some cases have utility functions depending on the action, such as debuffs or stuns. Support EXs are used to assist your group when the going gets rough by healing and buffing. At least one person in a group when multiplaying should have the arm repair EX for this very reason. Transform type EXs put your suit into an enhanced state, usually making it faster, able to boost cancel out of combos, and sometimes provides other benefits depending on the transformation type. This is where you'll find things like Transam, Serene Mind, the Zero system, and so forth. Finally, Optic Camo EXs, which are exclusive to a few suits, namely Blitz Gundam and Death Scythe, can be used to make yourself less likely to be targeted by enemies, and also throw off the tracking system of missile-type weapons in order to make them easier for you to evade. Then finally, there is your Burst action, an ultimate attack that requires you to utilize your Awaken/Burst mode to use. These can be offensive or defensive in nature, and like EX actions, you can master them to remove the part requirements. For example, it is possible through mastery to use Transam Burst without having a twin drive system like the 00 Riser. Okay, I think it's about time we wrapped up this video, so let's go over the last thing I wanted to mention, which is how you do your upgrades through merging. First off is pair merging. A pair merge lets you use another piece of the same category. In other words, use a head to upgrade a head. or similar. This will both give you experience towards a level up on the part, and also you take abilities from the material piece you like and move them onto the existing piece. In the event that the rarity of the material item is higher than the base piece you're using, the base piece will also go up one rarity level, which adds more ability slots to it, which means you can use more abilities. Upgrading your gear to Legendary is required if you want to max out the amount of abilities you can put on your mobile suit. After all, having 10 ability slots is better than 4, am I right? Next up is Plastic Merge. This will let you use plastic materials, which can be found in missions, to upgrade your parts experience meter. This is the most effective way to actually level up parts in most cases, as it's much more cost efficient to dump a few plastics into level up than do several pair merges or several package merges, which I will go into later. The other thing you can do through plastic merging is use what are called ability cubes. Ability cubes contain the same kind of bonuses you find on parts, but in this case, they're material items. You can use cubes to put on specific abilities, but you can only put on abilities that are compatible with the part. You can't give stagger chance to an arm, after all. Package merge is what you use when you have a lot of parts of abilities you want to use as upgrade fodder for a main piece, such as if you have 10 different arms that are all upgrading a particular melee weapon's DPS. It's cheaper than doing this one by one with pair merge, though you can't pick abilities to transfer this way. So make sure you only do this to upgrade existing abilities, not to try and move abilities you want to move. As long as the base part has the same abilities the materials have, they'll get upgrades out of it. If you need to clean out your inventory, I strongly recommend using this to upgrade some parts. Finally, Derive Merge. This is a little more unusual. This lets you turn a base part into another part by using another part as a material. The new base part will inherit the level and abilities of the original. This can be used to obtain parts you might have trouble finding loot drops for, and it's great if you want to make one part into another part, but not lose all the work, such as levels and abilities, you've put into it. And with that, we're pretty much wrapping up this video. This has been quite a long one, but I do thank you guys for watching it and enjoying the ride, I hope. That said, I'll see you guys next video, in which we're going to start going into the specifics of each weapon type, as well as combat. Thanks again, I'm Retro Nutcase, and have a good one.